Greetings. Today is Friday, June 14th, 2024, and in the most recent monthly market monologue, I was showing the Atlanta Fed's GDPNow tool and the downtrend that was prevalent. Well, we have an update on that, and I want to make sure I highlight that. But before we get to that, I want to show you updated information on the inflation data and some encouraging signs that there might actually be some important work in DC that's being done by a bipartisan group, which would be very helpful. So on the screen right now, we have inflation. We got updates earlier this week, and the good news is it did tick back down. We're down to about 3.3. Bad news is that it's still well above the 2% target that the Federal Reserve has set, and it's also above the 10-year average of 2.8. One of the things that concerns us, specifically the national debt as a percentage of GDP. And earlier this week, there was an article by a relatively well-known economist that I vehemently disagree with his conclusion because he states that, hey, the national debt is big, but don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I disagree completely. The reality that it is 122% of our nation's GDP, that is way too high. And this is something we've talked a lot about. And I would certainly contend that one of the big reasons why our national debt is so high is because of our entitlement spending, Social Security, Medicare being the two largest. So it's encouraging that we finally have a group of bipartisan lawmakers that are starting to talk about trying to solve the problem. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see the quote that I pulled from the article. Chairman Arrington emphasized the urgency of the situation, noting that without congressional action, Social Security faces insolvency by 2033. That is only 9 years away. And then Medicare would face the same problem just a couple of years later. So something has to be done. From a financial planning perspective, if you're not already retired, if you're not already receiving Social Security, one of the things that we've always been talking about this with our clients in terms of not counting on receiving 100% of the benefit that is promised. So if you're not already factoring that into your financial plan, you should be. If you're a client of ours, we've been doing that for a very long time because, quite frankly, if you remember when President Reagan was elected, one of the things that President Reagan did is he created a bipartisan commission, much like President Obama did when President Obama took office. President Obama took office, he created a bipartisan commission to talk about debt. Well, when President Reagan took office, he created a bipartisan commission, chaired by Alan Greenspan, by the way, who is not yet the Federal Reserve Chairman. And that commission talked about the problems of Social Security and Medicare. Unfortunately, not enough was done, and we now need to have a new group of bipartisan professionals that are going to make recommendations to Congress and the president, whoever that Congress is and whoever that president is, because this is a problem that needs to be solved. Last for today, we talked about GDP and the Atlanta Federal Reserve's or the Atlanta Fed's GDPNow tool. In the monthly market monologue that I was shooting, I was saying that it was at their forecast or their estimate was at 3.5. Then they lowered it to 2.7. Then they lowered it again to 1.8, and that trend was concerning. Well, good news, they updated it again, and this time it has ticked higher. So now the Atlanta Fed's GDPNow tool is estimating that second quarter GDP will come in at 3.1%. That would certainly be welcome. That's it for today. If you haven't already, please feel free to check out our updated website, Hicks-Associates.com. And until the next video, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, by all means, feel free to reach out to us. We do serve clients all over the country. Thanks for watching.